Welcome into the college basketball power rankings by DRF Sportsbook. We're breaking down the top 10 teams according to our computers as of right now, as of March 1st, the top 10 teams heading into the madness. What better day to get this going than March 1st? And you can check out all of this information and so much more, betting angles, trends, promos, exclusive offers. If you follow DRF Sportsbook on social media, we're Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're on social, YouTube, right here on YouTube, like and subscribe. Wherever you're on social, we're right there with you, so be sure to give us a follow. And if you're in Iowa, you can bet with DRF Sportsbook. It's Iowa's only local sportsbook. We're here to help you guys. We want to give you the best offers, the best specials, everything focused around you, the Iowa bettor. So if you're in Iowa, go ahead and check us out at DRF Sportsbook, ia.drf.com. So without further ado, without beating around the bush too much, we're going to be breaking down our college basketball power rankings. Starting with number 10, we'll go 10 to 1. The number next to the name is the movement they've had since last week. And checking in at number 10, the Purdue Boilermakers. They come into this week dropping a spot from number 9 last week, and they're 24-5 this season, but they're just 12, 15, and 2 against the spread. And when they're away from home, they're 6, 7, and 1. And we'll be breaking down a few key indicators here on the college basketball power rankings. We're going to be breaking down away from home against the spread, and we're going to be breaking down 2 days of rest or less, as in March Madness. They're playing on 1 day rest. They're playing on, it's quick turnarounds. You play Thursday, you play again Saturday. So we got to see how they've been playing without a lot of rest, with quick turnarounds between games. And we also want to see how these teams are playing when they're not at home, because these are neutral site courts. So we'll include away a little bit, because just not a lot of teams have a huge sample size for neutral sites. So we'll be breaking down away from home. That includes away games and neutral site games. So Purdue, 6, 7, and 1 away from home. And when they're playing with 2 days of rest or less, they're 8 and 8 against the spread. It's a 24-5 team that is projected to be a 1 seed according to Bracket Matrix. And they're plus 200 to make the Final Four. But this is a team I'm all the way out on. I like seeing them fall from 9 to 10, but I would have had them fall even more. I just don't have faith in the Purdue Boilermakers. I think Zach Edey is a fantastic big man that is perfectly made for the college game. 7'4", absolutely massive. But the Boilermakers just don't have much offense behind him if he isn't going at the kind of speed they need him to, or if he gets in foul trouble, which is a very real thing. Purdue just doesn't have the horses to keep up with the rest of the nation. And so I think that's why they're 10 to our computers. But according to me, I would drop them out of this altogether. Next up is number 9, Arizona, who's fallen 2 spots after their loss to Arizona State. They come into this week 24-5. They're 13, 14, and 2 against the spread, and 5, 6, and 1 away from home. So not the best against the spread record, which tells you they don't really do what they need to do against bad teams, especially not necessarily able to beat them up and run away with it. Could also be the fact that some of these spreads might be massive for them. But all things considered, not the best against the spread mark. If you were betting with them against the spread only this season, you'd be down some units, and that's never good. And on 2 days of rest or less, they're 5, 7, and 1. They're 5, 6, and 1 away from home. So 2 things that are kind of going against them heading into March. They're projected to be a 2 seed, and they're plus 300 to make the Final Four. This is a team coached by a fantastic coach, Tommy Lloyd, in his second season at the helm with the Wildcats after 20 years behind Mark Few up in Spokane, Washington with Gonzaga. They're an experienced team. They play high tempo. They have one of the best effective field goal percentages in the nation, but they've lost a lot of head scratchers. Their best loss, and I know that sounds counterintuitive, their best loss was against Oregon in Eugene, and Oregon's 47th in KenPom. They've beaten up on UCLA. They've won some big-time games. They can beat some good teams, but they've also lost to some weird teams. Stanford, which is hovering around 100 in KenPom. So Arizona, good, but I don't know if they're consistent enough to win. So at number 9, I like that for the Wildcats. Number 8, falling 2 spots from last week, is Texas. They come into this week 22-7 straight up, but they're 12-17, 5 games under 500 against the spread. And when they're away from home, they're just 4-9 against the spread. And they have a losing record when they're playing on 2 days of rest or less. projected to be a 2 seed, so a solid path to make it to the Final Four at plus 350. This is an interim coaching staff still after everything that happened with Chris Beard. They're a very talented team that has fared extremely well in Big 12 play. They've only had 5 Big 12 losses. And according to all of the numbers, the Big 12 is the best college basketball conference this season. Marcus Carr, they have a lot of guys. They can consistently play well, but can they consistently hang in with top teams? I don't think they can. That's why they're at number 8. They're a really, really good team, but occasionally they can lose to the better teams. They faced off against Tennessee, Baylor, some bad losses there. So Texas is a great team, but they're not the upper echelon of greatness, in my opinion, which is why they're number 8 and why they're sliding down a little bit. Not a good showing against Baylor. Coming in at number 7 and up 3 spots. They were at number 10 a week ago. They're now number 7. The 22-7 UConn Huskies. Against the spread this year, they're on fire. 18-11, 7 games above 500. They're 8-5 away from home. They're 8-4 on not a lot of rest, but they're projected to be a 4 seed, one of the lower seeds in this power rankings, but they're number 7. They're plus 400 to make the Final Four, and they're the 5th best team according to KenPom, and our computers like them too. 7th in the nation in offense, 23rd in defense. And after a down January where things kind of slipped for them and a reason they aren't in the top 5 of our power rankings, they went 5-1 in February. I think this team is firing on all cylinders. They have a lot of dudes. I think plus 400 may be a sneaky pick to make it into the Final Four are the Huskies. I love them at 7, and they are trending in the right direction now that we are in March. Number 6 is a very fun team that I'm kind of, as I look more and more into them, I'm higher and higher on the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They've gone up 2 spots since last week, coming in from 8 a week ago, now number 6. They come into March 25-5. They do struggle against the spread. They're 12-17 against the spread and 4-12 ATS away from home. 3-10 against the spread on 2 days of rest or less. Projected to be a 3 seed, and they are plus 450 to make the Final Four. They're currently 25-1 to win it all right now, but might be the best year to snag them at that price point. I mean, this is their worst KenPom since 2018, and in 2018 they made the Sweet 16. So you're telling me they just got to win 2 more games than that to make it to the Final Four, and I think this is a chance for them to even win it all. They have the best offense in the country, and that's not an exaggeration. They are number 1 in every advanced statistical category. They know how to play well, and they don't have a single freshman getting minutes. And Drew Timme is back for his 25th year. I think they have really good low post play. I think they have good guard play, and I think Gonzaga at 25-1 to win it all is a great bet. I'm not saying this team is fantastic. This team has deep flaws. They're not great defensively. I believe they're 88th in the nation in defensive efficiency, and no team has ever won the national championship being that low in defensive efficiency. So that's a big flaw for them. But I think at the value, Gonzaga is really, really solid. And their experience, I'm not putting too much stock into their 12-17 against the spread, 4-12. I think that came in that they were a little overvalued to begin the season, a couple rough losses, and now they're starting to find their trend, and they're trending in the right direction. Another team that's really fun, and I'm kind of surprised they're this low in our power rankings, UCLA. The Bruins are 25-4 in March, 16-12-1 against the spread, 7-6-1 away from home against the spread, and 8-4 with not a lot of rest. They're projected to be a 2 seed, and they are plus 270 to make the Final Four. You may not be paying attention to them. They're playing in the Pac-12. They're playing after 10 p.m. on most nights. So on the East Coast, Central Time, wherever you are, you may be falling asleep before the Bruins even finish their game. But they haven't lost since January 22nd, I believe it is. No, something longer than that, because they have the 8th longest win streak. So it has to be longer than that. Not sure what my math is there. But they have the 22nd best offense, 2nd best defense. In my opinion, they're just a better version of Tennessee. I'd flip-flop them in Tennessee. We'll see Tennessee in just a little bit. I love what UCLA is doing over there in California. Number 4 is Kansas. They've slipped a spot. Very odd. The next team somehow gained a spot. I'm not sure what our computers are saying here, but Kansas, they fell from 3-4 this week. They come into March 25-5. They're 14-16 against the spread, 8-6 away from home. But that's actually better then well, actually 8-6 is a good record. It's above 500. Their against the spread mark at home is 6-10. So they haven't actually performed as good as people think. I think that might be a little bit of the Allen Fieldhouse advantage, giving them more points than it necessarily needs to. Kansas expected to be a 1 seed, but this season they are 7-8 against the spread with 2 days of rest or less. They're plus 175 to make the Final Four, and they're currently the second favorite to win it all at plus 900. Look, this is the best team in the Big 12. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have the 9th best defense in the nation. Offense slightly lacking, 21st in the nation, 4th best offense in the Big 12. And this is a team that doesn't go necessarily very deep. They have 5 guys on their roster that get a lot of run, and they kind of rotate out a 6th man, a 7th man a little bit. But it's an experienced team that doesn't go deep into its bench. We'll see how that impacts them come March. Maybe it'll benefit them. Will be interesting to see. But they're a good team, and at 4 I like them there. And I don't like their value though. I don't think they're the second favorites to win it. Plus 175 to make the Final Four. Don't love that. I think the Jayhawks may be an Elite 8, Sweet 16 caliber team. They can go ahead and prove me wrong, but I'm just not putting any money on the Jayhawks right now to make it that far in the tournament. Another team I'm avoiding like the Black Plague, like the bubonic plague. Get me away from Tennessee. Somehow they went up a spot in our power rankings this week, and they just really haven't looked great. They're still a good team, but now there's a guy, Ziegler, potential missing some time with a knee injury. He was helped off the court in the Arkansas game. They come in 22-8, 16-14 against the spread, but they're 5-9 against the spread away from home. 500 on 2 days of rest or less, and they're projected to be a 3 seed. This kind of stumble down the stretch has knocked them from that 1 line all the way down to the 3 line, and they're now plus 550 to make it to the Final Four. This is a type of team that I think may be a first weekend exit. With the guy Ziegler questionable, the team doesn't have an overwhelming offense. They do have an elite defense, but if they run into a team that starts hitting some threes, starts hitting their shots, they may be in for some trouble. And this season on uncontested three-pointers, teams against Tennessee are shooting 26%. So on open threes, teams just aren't hitting their shots. That plays into a little bit of luck for the Volunteers too. Look, 550 to make the Final Four is a good value, but I can see them losing against a 14 seed. Specifically right now, Iona is slotted into the 14 seed. If Tennessee plays Iona, watch out for that round of 64 upset. Not sure why they're up a spot this week. I'm every day I'm losing more and more faith in the Volunteers. Avoid them. Avoid the Tennessee Volunteers right now. Any future, avoid them at all costs. They are trending the wrong direction right now. Houston checks in at number 2. They're 27-2. They are dominating the AAC. They currently have one of the longest winning streaks in the nation. They haven't lost since January 22nd. It is currently March 1st. Marcus Sasser and Houston has led that team to a top 5 offense and defense. I don't see them losing another game for a while. They're probably going to win the AAC. They're 17-12 against the spread. They are beating up on teams that they need to beat up on. And that 17-12 mark, an 8-4 away from home mark, really solid considering they're in the American. And in the American, you're playing some really low-level teams. You're playing some other good teams, but the AAC is just, the top is so strong, the bottom is fairly weak. So some of these are some large spreads. And they've picked up a 9-6 record when they're playing on 2 days of rest or less. Projected to be a 1 seed. They're plus 140 to make the Final Four. I love Kelvin Sampson's squad at plus 140 to make the Final Four. I actually like them a little bit more with the value at plus 700 to win the championship. I think this is the best team they've had in a long time. They're experienced. They're good. They've dominated their way through the season. You haven't heard much about Houston, but they are a legitimate team. They remain the same at number 2 from last week. And our number 1 team remains the same from last week. It's Alabama, a team with so much turmoil around them. But the computers, they don't look at that. And for good reason. This is an analytics-driven team. They shoot threes at a really high rate. They get inside, and they only shoot layups from 2 at a really good rate. They come in 25-4, 17-12 against the spread, 8-7 away from home, and they're 7-5 against the spread on 2 days of rest or less. projected to be a 1 seed. They're currently sitting at plus 175 to make the Final Four. I am staying away from this team in any postseason future play that I am making. Way too much turmoil around them. I don't know what to expect. But if we're looking at the pure numbers, Alabama is the best team in the country. Alabama, the Crimson Tide, are dominating the SEC. They're dominating college basketball. But come postseason, come SEC tournament, come NCAA tournament, I don't know how they'll play with the bright lights turned even brighter up on them. So Alabama, fantastic team, but the off-the-court issues may be their undoing this season. So thank you so much for tuning in to the DRF Sportsbook College Basketball Power Rankings. We'll be back next week around conference tournament time, seeing how this top 10 shakes up, see what teams maybe make a little bit of a run, pick up some quad 1 wins, and maybe go from the last 4 out to the next 4 in, see if they can get from the bubble to solidify their place. It's March, folks. This is, as John Rothstein says, this is March. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a profitable weekend. Have a profitable week. See ya.